Does somebody want me to wear this or just
Yes.
leave it? Okay.
Probably got 3 of them there.
Are there 3 of them? Okay. Well, y'all kind of.
Yeah, it goes on that side.
It says there's another one. Okay. Is anybody else that were not included? Okay. Okay. Can everybody hear me on their sound? Okay. All right.
Not yet.
Okay. We'll let the 3 cameramen tell me when they're ready. So.
Y'all ready?
Okay.
Rolling.
Good morning and welcome to the district courtroom in the Hartley County Courthouse in Channing, Texas. My name is David Green and I'm the district attorney for the 69th District of Texas. Hartley County is one of the 4 counties that are part of the 69th District. Before going any further today, on behalf of myself and my staff, we want to express our sympathies and condolences to the Gomez and White families over the loss of Brianna Gomez. Our prayers have been with them and will continue to be with them as they cope with their loss. Today, the Hartley County Grand Jury met to consider the facts surrounding the death of Brianna Gomez and the injuries sustained by Molly Gomez, Elier Gomez, Tyler Williams, and Tristan Williams, and to see if any criminal charges were warranted against Suzanne Williams. The grand jury, after careful consideration of the facts and applying the law to those facts, has determined that no indictment should be returned against Suzanne Williams. I'll take questions now from the media. And let's start over here on the left. Do you have a question?
How did the grand jury come to that decision?
Under Texas law, what goes on inside of a grand jury room is secret, and I cannot comment on that. Do you have a question?
Was there any consideration taken for her possibly tampering with evidence whenever she moved a few things around on scene?
Okay, the question was, is there any consideration for her tampering with evidence? All of the facts and circumstances, I can tell you this, were covered, all right? And the grand jury determined that there were no criminal charges to be brought. I cannot talk about any specific details or facts that were presented to the grand jury, all right?
Can you tell us about the jury? Who was on it, male, female?
No, I cannot.
Did you discuss with the jury possibly bringing up reckless charges or negligence charges?
Okay, the question is, did we discuss reckless charges or negligence charges? Criminally negligent homicide involves gross negligence as a matter of law. But, once again, I cannot discuss what was presented to the grand jury.
It seemed like the investigation took longer than usual. Was it usual for it to take, almost 6 months?
It can. DPS was working on the case. I'm assured that they were working hard on the case. You need to understand that each member of the crash reconstruction team has regular other duties. Weather was a factor at one of their meetings. We've had DPS personnel pulled to Austin for security reasons and to the border. I don't know specifically, but the agency does get spread thin sometimes, and I think they worked on it diligently. And sometimes it does take a while.
Have you had a chance to talk to members of the Gomez family since the indictment, or no indictment came through?
I have talked to Mr. White. I have not talked to Mr. Gomez, but he has an open invitation now to visit with me about the case. I really could not discuss it with him beforehand.
A lot of people are going to see this decision and they're going, whoa, but in cases like this where there's no gross negligence, nobody was under the influence of anything, and it wasn't intentional, it's just an accident. How can you kind of explain to people why there wasn't an
All right. I can't talk about what went on inside the grand jury room, but I can talk about what I know, all right, as the district attorney and received in the reports, all right. First of all, let's talk about gross negligence. Gross negligence, as opposed to civil negligence, takes extreme acts. It takes usually more than one act. If you were an attorney and you were researching the difference between civil negligence and gross negligence, it would really become immediately apparent to you what some of the differences are. When you look at the cases in Texas where people have been convicted of criminally negligent homicide, have been tried, have been found guilty, and then they've appealed their case, basically saying on appeal, wait a minute, yes, I was civilly negligent, but I didn't commit criminal negligence. You will see numbers of factors, just not one factor. You will see speeding, no braking, sometimes racing, disregarding construction barricades, ignoring signs. And it's the totality of all of these facts when you look at the cases that have been taken up on appeal and the court has said, no, there was sufficient evidence to find you guilty of criminal negligence, you'll immediately see the difference. It's just not one act or two acts. It's a whole laundry list of things.
Does this open it up for civil litigation then?
Oh, there's definitely a civil responsibility here. Yes. And the burden of proof in a civil case is by a preponderance of the evidence, which means you just have to have some evidence that shows that whatever that fact is more likely than not to have happened. When we try a case in this courtroom criminally, we have to show the jury that the facts are there and believable beyond a reasonable doubt. And that is a burden. That's a high burden. That's the way the federal Constitution and the state Constitution have set this up. And we as prosecutors accept that burden.
Were any citations issued for lack of seatbelt or driving on the wrong side of the road?
I don't know for sure. All right. If they weren't, I'm going to urge my local DPS area sergeant to have those issued. All right. Yes, sir, you had a question.
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
All right. Are there any other questions?
Did DPS make any kind of recommendation with their report? Is that part of what
was
happened?
presented to the grand jury, I cannot comment on it.
Are you satisfied with the way everything happened?
Yes, I am.
So what will the next step be in this process, or is this kind
This
of-
process, as far as the criminal offense, this is over. Now, what happens in any kind of civil suit, of course, no prosecutor is ever involved in that. I would refer you to the insurance companies. You have that information on the accident report, which is a public document.
Can we get that from you?
I
The
would
accident
prefer
report?
that you get that from the Department of Public Safety or the Department of Transportation. I'm not sure who is in charge of that, but
Okay.
are there any other questions? If they're not, then we'll bring this to a conclusion. Thank you.